Hi, Karen. Good morning.
Good morning, Valerie. How are you today?
I'm great, thanks. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. We actually had our first full wedding weekend since March
Oh my
yesterday.
gosh,
So
that's
it
awesome.
was it's a blissful tired today. So I'll
Nice.
take it.
Yeah, we'll take it
Take
for
it. Yes.
sure. Well,
Yes.
Karen, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your company.
For sure. So I'm Karen Greenoe. I'm here in lovely Charlotte, North Carolina. I am the owner of Lily Greenthumbs. I started the company 11 years ago. We started as a full service retail, floral design, funerals, the whole nine. Very quickly realized that my heart was in events. And so after being in business for 2 years, we were appointment only. We just did weddings and events, and here we are now, in 2020, surviving
Yeah,
alongside the rest of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody since COVID had to sort of pivot. How have you adjusted to that?
Yeah, so I feel like it's been a number of different little pivots, just kind of shifting as we go. And nothing's perfect, I'll be honest, but I've been told by friends that I am far too stubborn to let the rug completely come out from under me. And I would agree with them. And also, having been an entrepreneur for the past 11 years, I think it's just in my bones at this point. Going back to work for someone else is absolutely not an option.
Yeah.
So we did some retail floral. We've kind of shifted our offerings, changed our packages. We actually recently launched a sister company called Green and Bloom, which I'll talk about more later. But it is kind of a preset collections of bouquets, centerpieces, boutonnieres, that sort of thing, that people can literally go onto our Shopify account and just pick their favorites. It's all inspired by our most popular designs. So that's been really fun. Just trying to find different ways to serve people in this crazy uncertain time, but also keep ourselves afloat too. So
Yeah.
it it's been a lot of little reiterations as we move along, and I am sure we have not hit the last of those.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting because your Instagram, I love it, by the way.
Thank
It's
you.
really beautiful.
Thank you.
But I love that you interject inspirational quotes every so often. And the one quote that I saw that really kind of uh, encompasses 2020 so far is change is not always fun, but in order to run a profitable business, you've got to course correct constantly.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I will admit, I swiped that from someone else.
That's
It's
okay. I
actually,
mean,
I can't remember her name right off the top of my head. Of course, as soon as we get off this recording, I'll remember, and we'll add that back in.
yeah,
But it was a wedding planner out in California that said that, and I think that's really rang true for me, because you can't keep doing what you're doing and
yeah,
expect different results, especially when the climate is changing so much. And, 11 years into my business, I always say that I'm a business person first and a floral designer second, because I truly believe, and I love that I just saw your dog walk through the background. This is real life,
but
y'all.
yeah, you'll see. I have two of them, but you'll see them kind of.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
if I wasn't locked in my bedroom right now, you would be seeing my 5-year-old and 2-year-old daughters like
I'm sure.
popping their heads up. So that's real life right now. But it's just amazing seeing entrepreneurs, not just in the flower industry, but other industries as well, that have been doing what they've been doing for so long, and they keep doing it that way because it's the way they've always done it. And I think 2020 has really opened a lot of our eyes to realize that we can't keep doing that. If you want to continue to survive in a changing economy, a changing generation, a changing environment, you have to constantly be changing yourself and reevaluating how you do things, your marketing, your message, who you're serving, because hate to break it to you, you're not always serving the same person every single day. So you've got to keep
Yeah.
looking at that. I think it's becoming obvious that I'm a very passionate entrepreneur, even outside of
Yeah.
flowers.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's really been my thing. You know, it's like every day, and sometimes I feel like I'm hitting my head against the wall. I'll
Yeah.
be completely honest. Some days I'm just like, yeah, I want to crawl back in bed and pretend 2020 never happened.
Yeah, we all
But
do.
yeah, every night my husband and I, you know, when it's not 180 degrees outside, we go on a little walk around our neighborhood and we talk about how we can do things differently, how we can change, you know, how we can offer something new or in a different way. And I have to say it's been very helpful to have that sounding board. You know, he tells me when my ideas are crazy, and that's great. I
Yeah.
need someone to do
Yeah.
that.
That's awesome. My
Yeah.
husband gives the best advice ever.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep.
Karen, what do you think has been your biggest hurdle so far?
Yeah. Oh gosh, let me list the the
Yeah.
hurdles. You know, I think it's are you talking just currently in 2020 or just in
Yeah,
general?
in general. I mean,
Okay.
since 2009 when you opened the business.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, you know, early in my days of business, there were very established florists in
Yeah.
Charlotte. And, you know, they'd been around for 50, 60 years. And I was the new kid on the block. And I was very young. I was 25 when I started my company. Please don't do the math. But, but, you know, I was new. I didn't know everything. I had to kind of fake it till I became it. I remember during my very first bridal consultation, the bride told me that she loved delphinium, and I wrote it down like I knew what she was talking about. I
Oh
had
my
no idea
gosh.
what delphinium was. I
Interesting.
seriously didn't. I had to Google it later.
Well,
But
luckily it's
so
a flower that's pretty much available all the time.
right, exactly. So you know, I always chuckle about that one because it's like that's like not knowing what a carnation is. Come
Yeah.
on. But so I think the you know the constant bombardment of new knowledge was my biggest hurdle at the beginning, and it was overwhelming, and it was you know not knowing the best way, the most efficient way to do deliveries, and learning as I was going, and that was a big hurdle. But I feel like I kind of got my feet under me, and you know things kept moving along. um, you know, I think growing my team was hard. I got very fortunate, you know, unfortunately in 2020 we did have to kind of trim back a little bit, but
Yeah.
you know, knowing not hiring out of desperation,
Yeah.
hiring intentionally, and realizing when you made mistakes and admitting to yourself that you made them and trying to correct them. I think that was a big part. But right now, I'm constantly trying to keep educating myself. You know, like I said earlier, always looking at my processes and how I'm doing things, how I'm marketing, how I'm designing, and always being open to new ideas because you know we live in an incredible world where we are so connected. We're more connected than ever
Yeah.
before. This Zoom call recording is, you know, a prime example of that. You know, I'd never heard of Zoom a year and a half ago, but
Yeah.
here we are. And it's just, you know, I think it's one of those words that we're going to use like Kleenex, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, the Kleenex is tissue paper, but you know, Kleenex is the term now for what that is. But I think, you know, just really being open to adapting and changing
Yeah.
has been, you know, what I'm working on now. I think that would cover that.
So being a business owner, a mom, a
Mhm.
wife, you have
Mhm.
two small children. Last year, September 2019, you started your podcast.
I
Tell us a little,
did.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it's you know, this kind of goes back to I was an entrepreneur first and a floral designer second. I really felt like I had something to say and something to share with the world that was beyond flowers. And it was supporting women in business. And I actually spend a lot of time at my local Mayesh. Mayesh actually used to be directly across the street from our studio. So
Oh,
they used
wow.
to, my sales rep there used to joke, she's like, do you want me to just set up a desk here
Oh my
because you're
gosh.
here so much.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but I really had the opportunity to connect with other designers and kind of, we would share war stories and, just really kind of try to help each other out
Yeah.
on things that we were struggling with. And so I realized that wasn't just in the floral industry. It was, entrepreneurism is becoming more and more prevalent, especially, amongst women. And, having that support network out there is
Yeah.
really important. And I felt like, beyond flowers, there was just something big that was out there for me to do. And that's why I started the podcast. I have kind of slacked off on sharing new episodes. I have a few that are really good that are in the hopper that I'm ready to post. But,
Can't wait
I
for this.
think, do what now?
I know. I said I can't wait.
Yeah. And it's funny. I actually have my podcasting microphone right here.
Oh,
So yeah,
interesting.
make myself look
That's
real
awesome.
official now. But I think this whole, the lockdown and the uncertainty and everything that's come with it, I think a lot of us have, it's kind of shaken us to the core, be like, what's
Yeah.
really important? What do I really need to spend time on? What has the most immediate ROI? And for me right now, obviously, it's serving the clients that I have because their weddings are changing. They're not looking like they expected them to, but really making sure that I'm serving those and then kind of just laying groundwork for the future on how I can continue to serve other people. So that's kind of where I am right now.
You have any interesting projects coming up?
Oh, I feel like that is a loaded question. I feel like
Yeah.
everything keeps on changing. Um, you know, Up until about a month or so ago, we had been selected as one of the official floral designers for the RNC.
Mm,
So I was very excited about that. Unfortunately, it did move out of Charlotte. So the promise of decorating an 8 foot tall floral elephant
yeah.
uh, was really, really exciting, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I think it's just the process of keeping the business going, making sure people are taken care of, and making sure that the people that are getting married feel like they have permission to celebrate. Because I think
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people are struggling with right now. And some of my brides who have decided to move back, I've talked with them and they've said, I feel like now is not the right time to
Yeah.
celebrate. And I want people to have the permission to celebrate, not
Yeah, for
just
sure.
for the event industry, but for their own personal happiness.
Yeah.
And, there's so much hardship that all of us are dealing with right now. And I want people to know that it's okay to celebrate those things that are happening in your lives,
Yeah.
marriages, babies, families growing, all of that. It's okay to celebrate.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Karen, what advice can you give um, kids growing up, who want to open a business, women, young
Sure.
girls,
Yeah.
being a business owner? What advice could you give
Yeah.
them?
So when I was in college, I went to Wake Forest University. I joke that I'm the Wake florist because I'm pretty sure
Oh,
I'm only the only floral designer that Wake Forest put out. It is a top-rated university. Lots of attorneys, lots of doctors come out of Wake Forest, and then there's me, the floral designer. I think the big thing is you don't need anyone else's permission to pursue what's on your heart.
yeah.
If you feel like you are being kind of funneled into a certain education by the expectations of your family or your peers,
Yeah.
but what you want to do with your life is outside of that, that's okay. You don't need anyone's permission to do that. And I can tell you right now that sitting in a cubicle for the rest of your life, when you want to be out there, I don't know, on a stage on Broadway, do
Mm,
it, because you will never, no amount of money that you can earn from one of these prestigious careers can buy your happiness. It's only finding your purpose and, pursuing it with reckless abandon that will really bring you true happiness inside your heart.
Well, that's amazing advice. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that about you.
Well,
Karen,
thanks.
thank you so much for coming on here, talking, sharing your story.
Of
I
course.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And gosh, maybe someday we'll meet.
I sure hope so. Maybe when we're allowed to travel to California again, I'll be
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
My brother lives in San Diego, and I've been looking for an
Okay.
excuse to visit. So there we go.
Well, my daughter is moving to North Carolina.
Oh, hey. We'll
Yeah,
just,
next month.
cross
Yeah,
paths.
we'll
Oh,
just, yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
I
thank
love
you
it.
so much. Have a
Of
great Sunday.
course.
And
Wonderful. You too.
all right. Thanks, Karen.
Bye.